Hello creative people, my name is Ozo, your guide in this fascinating world of mural art and art productions. We want to bring artists pure value, we want to impart knowledge, we want to share experiences we gathered over the past 25 years of mural production. I've been painting murals commercially for advertisements in the outdoor space, for businesses and brands, and what I want to share with you is principles that has helped me grow over the years that you can apply right now in your mural production business and see results. Now, whether you've been producing wall murals for centuries or you're just starting out, we want to talk about a practical skill that every single artist needs to master in order to not just fill your wallet but move your career further in a sustainable way. So whether you've been painting murals for a long time or you're just starting out, one of the most crucial skills that you need to acquire is not just how to apply paint and make beautiful paintings, but understand the value of your work. You need to understand the value and how to monetize that value. In other words, how to price your work in a way that is sustainable and profitable for you as a business owner and as an artist at the same time. This is a topic that many artists find challenging, and they may not be vocal about it, but it's been a sensitive one and a challenging one for many artists out there. And unfortunately, it's so essential that that's something you cannot walk away from. You have to deal with the pricing and understanding how that impacts your work and how that takes you further in your business. And this is how to price your artwork and sell it profitably. So no matter who you are, no matter what type of art you make, canvas, painting, sculpture, big wall murals, pricing your art correctly in a profitable way sometimes can feel like walking a tightrope. As an artist, you want to get the right price. You price too high and you risk chasing away potential clients who could have bought your work or your service. And you price too low, you risk undervaluing your work, shoot yourself in the foot, and earn way less than you ought to for the kind of work you do. So the question remains, how do you get that sweet spot? How do you price in a way that is just perfect, just right, so that the client is happy and you make money, and profitably so, because you run a business as an artist? You probably have seen many videos that promise to teach you how to price your art, and when you start off watching the video, you're all hopeful and looking forward to understanding how to solve this difficult problem. But by the time you get through the entire video, by the time you're watching it to the end, you are left confused with many questions. And that's because you are left with something that I like to call conditional loopholes. Now, these are open-ended and unanswered puzzles that they'll normally talk about, which will stop them from telling you exactly how much you ought to charge for your work. When you ask someone who leaves you with a conditional loophole, how much would you charge for your work, they will tell you it depends on the size. And when you say, let's use 2x10 for instance, how much will it be? Then they will say, if it's 2x10, I will charge based on how intense or easy the artwork is. And if you say, okay, let's say it's a simple artwork, it's a writing, painting with a face and this, they'll say, look, it depends on how much it takes, how long it takes me, because I must factor in access and so on, where they never get to tell you this is how much to charge. In fact, I went online and I saw a beautiful painting made by this young man, and it was a very well rendered, detailed face with droplets of water. So, enjoying the compliment, and I said to him, this is a beautiful work. Then I asked him next, how much will this cost if I were to buy this from you? Because I wanted to know, to understand how he sells his work, if he is comfortable with his pricing, because this is something I've come to see over the years that many artists struggle with. So he said to me, it depends on the size. And I said to him, take the size you have right now and give me a price, assuming I'm a client. How much will it cost me? And he went quiet. And that's because artists struggle to attach a price to their work because of many factors that I will explain in this video. So you find out that it's difficult for artists to determine how much they charge, how much they want for their work, because of various factors. Some people come up with a very complicated formula, something like total cost of materials plus the time spent, and depending on the complexity of the artwork, then they decide how much it will cost. And that still leaves you with conditional loopholes, because the only time you'll get an answer is on condition that you find out how much this will cost or how much the material will be. And sometimes these are not easy to ascertain on the spot. Now, when pricing your work, you want to leave your client to feel a little bit in control. Even though you set the price, they must not be at your mercy, where there are factors that they are not clear about that you control solely. I'll give you an example. If you say that the condition of payment depends on time, like some people charge per hour, and the client will not know how much it will cost him, because you could decide that this artwork will take 12 hours or you could make it 15 hours. So that leaves your client a bit disempowered. They are not able to look at it and make sense of it. Your pricing structure should be simple, straightforward, easy to understand, and leave your client with a measure of control, in the sense that they should be able to work out the same amount that you will arrive at if you follow the same formula you gave them. Let me repeat that. Whatever pricing structure you present to your client should be able to independently, without your help, without asking you any questions, arrive at the same figure that you would if you apply the very same pricing model and structure that you have put on the table. So when you price your work in a way that doesn't have a specific structure, let me tell you what it says about you as the artist and your business and your marketing, and why that could be one of the key factors why you haven't sold 1 million pieces of your work, or you haven't been signed up for lots of commissions for your mural services. Let me show you what a very indecisive pricing model that leaves the client more confused than letting them understand what they want, and if they can afford it, does to your business. Now the next question is, how much can I charge? Because if I charge too little to a rich art collector, I will be leaving a lot of money on the table. I will be losing out on money I could have made. And if I charge way too much than I ought to, I could scare away a potential client who could pay me well and buy my art. So finding that balance has been a challenge for many artists. Now, having said all this, let me give you the pricing strategy tip number 1 for your art, for your service. And this pricing strategy applies for all businesses, everybody who sells a service. This is simply a marketing principle. Principle number 1, I'll tell you what is not good marketing, so that you will appreciate what is good marketing when you get to learn it. Rule number 1, if you are not able to explain to a prospect, a potential client, what it is you are selling, how much you are selling it, and to whom you are selling it in one simple sentence, then you have already failed. You are not marketing. If someone says to you, how much do you sell your art? What do you do? How much is it? You hear someone saying, look, it depends on, I paint, but look, if you like me to do this, I can also, and always, in fact, and all these things are something called resistance. You are self-sabotaging your own business, throwing multiple stumbling blocks. Each time you say, look, it depends, or maybe, but I normally charge this, but usually, but you need to tell your client what you sell, how much it will cost them, to the point. It shouldn't be conditional or depending on anything. It should be clear, and you should say it in one sentence with one full stop in the end. Do this, but if you prefer that I do it this way, I can do. They don't have preferences. You are the expert. You set the standard, you give them the price, you give the time frame, you explain to them how best to acquire this product that only you are the expert in manufacturing. So marketing tip number 1, master how to explain to a prospect or a potential buyer in one sentence, in one breath, what you're selling, how much you're selling it for, and to whom you are selling this product. Now let me show you an example. I charge 20,000 rands for wall mural art that I paint for private homeowners, and the minimum size is 2x10. Here I have given the client how much I charge. I have told the client who I sell to, private homeowners, and I told them the size, 2x10, and they have everything they need to make a decision, and that's it. Compare with this example, or you can say, I sell wall mural painting services to private homeowners, and I charge 25,000 rands for 2x10 meters. I sell a clay pot to catering services, and the prices are 40 rands per clay pot. I paint abstract paintings made with resin and charcoal for the DIY epoxy resin industry, and I charge 50 rands per painting. I create sculptures in resin made of fiberglass and epoxy resin for home decorators, and I charge $50 for a painting. I design well-cut bespoke stencils for sign writers to create their signs, and I charge 1,000 rands for a stencil measuring 2x10 or 5x9. So we want to give all the necessary information a person needs to make a decision. So the moment I say these things, now my client has all the information they need to make an informed choice. And that's very important and very crucial to sales and marketing. In order to drive this point home and tell you how important pricing, and not just pricing, but how you present your offer, the pricing is to your business, let me tell you what you are communicating unwittingly, unknowingly, when you are not able to put a specific price to your artwork. You're not able to define what you do in one sentence so that your client understands it very clearly. Although you think you are marketing yourself, this is what you're saying. In actual fact, I lack confidence in myself and my product. And unfortunately or fortunately, confidence is one of the key factors that make sales happen. It's not just about the price, it's about how you communicate the price as well. Let me give you an example. The only reason why a designer product, we will not attach a name to it, any designer product sells for $1,000 and an exact same product equivalent, same quality, same size, same material, sells for less, is because the one that is a designer was packaged and offered by someone who stood with confidence behind that price and told you that it is so. That's all. You can come up with many names: brand positioning, marketing, branding, whatever. No, the simple fundamental value is someone stood behind it and looked you straight in the eye and said to you, this is 1,000 rands. And when you want to know why, they'll tell you because the name is this brand, and that's it. So that shows you to what extent confidence when pricing goes in selling your product. So as artists, we want to learn to, first of all, define value, understand our art, understand the value, define it well, so well that we understand how to convert it into money. It's as good as any other trade, but it's difficult for artists for various reasons. We are attached to our work, we love it so much, we get emotional, so we can overprice it, and then we underprice it sometimes and we regret it. And if you overprice it, nobody buys it, and you stay with it and you love it and live with it forever, but you want to sell it because you need to make a living, and you end up underpricing it again, so we swing from high to low. But I will help you to overcome that, so you are sound in mind and you're able to treat it as a business and detach yourself from the ownership of your work, so that you can make progress and create more, because it only gets better the more you create. So if you're not able to give your client a specific, straightforward answer when they ask for a price, you are transferring lack of confidence, you are transferring insecurity, transferring indecision, and you are saying to the client, I don't even have confidence in what I made, I don't even understand it myself, and that's why I'm not able to give you a definite answer. And then ask yourself, if you, the maker of the artwork, are unable to define how much it should cost, do you think the client will be able to do so? They too will think, well, if you're not able to tell me how much this is, I don't think I can figure it out myself, and I don't want to lose my money, I don't want to make a mistake, and that's why a sale doesn't happen, and you wonder why, and the cycle repeats itself. I'm sure by now you're wondering, when will I tell you exactly how to price your work? Just hold on, before this video ends, I'm going to give you exactly how to price your art. I would like to mention another mistake that artists make, and this is from something that sales and marketing people often do. They ask the buyer, do you have a budget? Now, that is good if you know how to use that question correctly. Now, before we go further, that question, do you have a budget? It's actually meant to help save the client or the potential client money and time, so that you can cut past all the time wasters and get them exactly the sort of product they're looking for. So that will work, and it always works if you have a very clearly defined package or packages of offers that you well understand. For instance, you have 5 paintings of varying sizes. So when a client asks you, how much are your paintings, you can ask them, do you have a budget? Especially when the paintings are more or less the same thing, but categorized or differentiated by sizes or extent to which certain materials were applied, or the method that you used in painting it, or the finishing, or all sorts of things that could be variables or factors that can induce a varying difference between these products. But if you don't have a specific price tag to every single one of these, and you don't know it like the back of your hand, so that when they say how much is that, you don't say look, it depends, what do you want? You simply say it is 20,000. How much is that? 10,000. How much is that? 5,000. If you have that mechanism in place, now you go ahead and ask, what is your budget? But if you ask that without these things in place, you are shooting yourself in the foot once again. It simply means you are trying to find out how much they have in their budget, so that you can decide how much of that money they have you want for yourself. So if he is rich, I will charge more. If he is not rich, I'll see how much I will get out of him. And I can tell you that is unprofessional, does not inspire confidence. It's not fair on the client, and definitely not fair on you, because you get to lose lots of business and trust of your client, which is very important. So let me tell you what else happens when you choose to tell your client that you charge depending on how long it takes you to complete the work. In other words, you are saying to the client that you will be able to give a specific price only when the job is started, and people don't want things that they cannot measure or have control over, especially if they are on a budget, and most people are, because they have a specific time frame and the amount of money they are willing to spend on something. So when you say my price depends on how long it takes, it is difficult for them to make up their mind. Again, in the marketing space, anything that causes a disturbance, the communication guys call it noise. Anything that causes noise is actually called resistance, because you are putting things, stoppers, in the way of your clients making a decision to buy. But that's not what you want. You want them to easily make up their mind. So you should give them all the information they need and leave them to make up their mind. Another reason it's not fair is that it leaves your client vulnerable, because let's face it, you are the painter, you understand the work, they don't. And now you're telling them that you can only give them a price when you start the job. And this is something that you are fully in control of, which means you call the shots. You can decide that the job will take 1 hour or 12 hours. And the fact that the number of hours affects their pocket can be something scary for a client. Often, they might tell you, I'll think about it, and most cases, they will not come back. I will show you why being specific with your pricing and getting the job done in the shortest possible time is best for you as the artist and for your client. And one of my favorite reasons for taking this approach is not just that you get to control your time, because you finish one job, one project very quickly, get the client to be happy, and you move on to a second project and the third one and your next one. But also it leaves your client happy, and that means they get value for their money in the shortest time possible, because let's face it, people are concerned about turnaround times. They want to know how long will this take. And when you give your client a beautiful product in as short a time as possible, they are happy. You not just make money, you have made a happy client who is dying to say good things about you in your testimonials. So you get the job done, you get paid, and you move on to the next one, which makes you more productive. It saves you time, saves your client a lot of time and money, and makes you more money while you grow your portfolio with a list of happy clients who are dying to say good things about you. And these people will not just walk away saying good things about you, they give you referrals, and that's how you get more happy clients, and the cycle repeats itself. Now that I have told you all the various mistakes that many artists make and why they are not good for your business when it comes to pricing, let me tell you what you should do with regards to pricing and how you can price your work. Price your work in a specific way that you have measured based on your own understanding of time, skill, and value of your work. Now, every single thing you create as an artist, you are the person who can attach price to it. Let me tell you how I price my murals and how I price my artwork, and that will be a springboard from which you can model your own pricing from. I charge my mural project in square meters, so I charge 600 rands per square meter, and that helps the client to understand that if they want to multiply it times how big they want the job to be, they can go ahead and do so. Now, Before I go ahead and tell you about the pricing, just a disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor, so every single advice I give you on this video is purely based on my experience, what has worked for me, and it doesn't mean that it will work exactly the same way for you, but it serves as a structure, as a skeleton that you can put some flesh on and build your own structure of pricing that makes financial sense to you. And this goes to depends on various values such as geographic location, currency, where you are, and so on and so forth. So where you are, you may be able to charge more, and where you are, you may have to charge less. But I will give you what I do where I am in South Africa, so that you get to see not what the prices are at the moment, but how I communicate the pricing to my client. So when I approach a client and they want to know how much I charge for a job, the first thing I do is to ascertain how serious they are how serious they are with buying my product, and I do it in various ways. Let me give an example. If you're an artist, you will be painting, and someone might approach you by the site if you paint outdoors like I do, and they might say something like, how much is this wall if I want you to paint one for me? A mistake many artists make is that they think that this is a business opportunity, and in most cases it's not. It's simply a curiosity-driven question. And what I often say to them is, I would like you to send me an email and tell me exactly what you want. So I have a business card, and I'll give them my business card, and I'll say, drop me an email, tell me what you want me to do, and I will answer and give you every single detail that you need. Sometimes they may say to me, okay, I have a wall there, I have an artwork, if it's about this size, I just want to have an idea, how much will it be? And I'll say to them, I am specific, so I need to see your artwork, and when I see your artwork, I'll be able to give you a price. The reason for that is you want to filter chances, people who just want to waste your time, because while you're working on the site, every single time that you turn around to speak to someone counts. That's your working hours, and you need to get your job done. So if you're going to talk to me, first of all, it better be worth it. And if it will be worth it, there's only one way to prove that you are really serious about business, and that's by sending me an email. The fact is, anyone who really likes your work and wants to work with you, they will send you an email. So I refuse to discuss pricing, one, when I'm working on a project, and two, not on site. Now, when they send me an email, because the serious ones do, I then give them my pricing model. And one of the factors that you must always include in your pricing is something called site establishment cost. Site establishment cost is something that is very well known in the engineering world, and that's the money that you get your client to pay you for setting up your site. So you want to paint a piece, and you have access, the scaffoldings, electric cables, the connectors, the compressors, and all sorts of gadgets that you need for spray painting or airbrushing. Should your client decide, just as you arrived on site, that they no longer want to go on with this project, that money should not be refunded, because you spent your time and some resources hiring those equipment and setting them up. So that money should be locked in as something spent. Rule number 2 is that you must always ask for minimum of 60% upfront from your client. And depending on the culture of payments where you are, you can ask for the remaining balance on completion. I do that with my client. As a matter of fact, some clients of mine pay me complete cash, the whole amount, because they've done business with me. They know that I will deliver. But when I meet new clients, I charge them 60% minimum, and that's excluding site establishment costs as well. Now, let me give you a little secret. When you are sitting in a presentation and you have communicated all the beautiful things that you are able to do for your client, and every artist can do this, you can show them your portfolio, you can talk about the work, what you've done, you can explain all the things, and when it comes to the most important part, which is pricing, this is something I learned from a very experienced marketer. When you tell your client the price, say nothing else. You're done. So the client says to you, so Mr. Ozo, we heard everything you said, we love your portfolio, and the question is, how much is this, and what are the conditions for having this wall mural done. You've done all the work, you've done all the sales, you've explained everything, and now they bought in. Most artists make the mistake of over-explaining over and over again because they are scared the client might say no. They are scared of mentioning an amount that they may feel is terrifying. So they say something like this. The client says, so Mr. Ozo, we're happy with your work and everything. Now the question is, how much is this and what do we do next? They say, so look, like I explained to you, this is really 2x10 the size, and I normally charge 25,000, but the thing is, you can pay me a portion, and look, you don't have to pay all of it once. You can like pay something, and depending on the time, how much it takes me, and you see that you are doing their work. It's not your decision to make, and you are telling them that the price you gave them is you're uncomfortable. You're not even able to sit still after giving them the price. So you are scared. So you don't even know the value of what you're doing. So you want them to, you're trying so hard to justify something that no one asked you. And all these things are not good for business. It shows you're not used to charging big amounts, and that's why you are so uncomfortable trying to justify what no one asked you. Now this is how to do it. Mr. Ozo, how much is your wall mural? This wall mural will cost you 25,000 rands, and as soon as you sign these documents right here on the table on the dotted lines, I'm ready to start tomorrow. I need 60% upfront, excluding site establishment costs, and I will need the 40% on completion. That's it. Say nothing else. Now, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to make an offer, how to create offer, how to determine the value of your product, whether you are a painter, canvas painter, wall mural producer, how to understand the difference between actual costs, what it took you to create a product, and the perceived value, which in turn determines the market value. And that's what your client sees, and that's where you charge from. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see you in the next one.